So, 2016 is upon us, and we have reached the end of another era, and we're entering into a new era. And this era is the era of ideas and rapid growth from all sectors, from banking, from media, military, technology. You're going to see huge growth in technology. But what I'm going to focus on tonight is more commas in 2016. It's been a while. We've all learned our lessons for the year, hopefully. And first off, before I get started into any of this podcast, I want to introduce myself to those who don't know me. Most of you know me from Twitter as @Soledad Francis, but my name is Brandi L. Bates, and I want to start out by saying there's some books that we need to pick up that I would recommend to definitely get in your arsenal to help you. We're going to go back to the basics, because sometimes when you skip the basics, that's when you get in trouble. When you try to skip steps and skip the fundamentals, you end up making needless mistakes and costing yourself time, years, weeks, months, days, heartache, headaches. So first off, I'm going to list the top 10 self-improvement books, self-help, personal development that's going to help in attaining and obtaining and becoming. And you'll understand a little bit more about that by the time I get to the end of this podcast, becoming more commas in 2016. And what I mean by that is you have to embody that. Whatever it is you want to have, wherever you want to go, whatever you want to do, you must first embody it in your consciousness. Embody that in your consciousness. And I'm going to explain a little bit more about that shortly, but the books. Number 1, The Road Less Traveled, A New Psychology of Love, Traditional Values, and Spiritual Growth by M. Scott Peck. The Road Less Traveled. Very instrumental book. Number 2, The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle. Many of you have read this. Read it again. If you've read it twice, read it 3 times. Read it again. Because what happens is every time you read a book, as you grow, you're going to get new insights from those words. As you experience different things, it'll speak to you and speak to your spirit in different ways, from different angles. Number 3, this is a classic, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie. Because so many of us do not understand basic psychology. I don't care if it's a business, a relationship, a career, school, anything you want to do will involve other people. It will involve you having to speak with other people, interact with other people. And if you don't understand the basic psychology of how to influence people and sell whatever it is, even if it's an idea, you won't get anywhere. Everything that you want must come through the channel of another person. And so understanding people and the way people think, the way people act, the way people behave, what drives people, what motivates people is going to be key in getting the things that you would like to have, and also moving and maneuvering in a society that requires so much relationship. Number 4, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. Again, a classic. Dated? Yes. The words, I understand, it's old. It was written a very long time ago, but the information is still vital. And this is something that you should read every year. I think this book, more than so many others, it touches on so many basic fundamental concepts. And sometimes you have to read it a couple times to really understand the hidden message, the seed between the lines. When you read between the lines and let it speak into you, I think you'll get something different from it. But again, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. And if you don't feel like listening to it or reading it, listen to the audiobook. It's a quick listen as an audiobook. Number 5, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey. Again, basics, fundamentals, ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. We're going back to the basics, rudimentary. For some people, it won't be basics. But I promise you, if you can get the basics and master those, then nothing can stop you. If you're running into a block, it's because you have not mastered the fundamentals. Number 6, Perfect Health Diet by Paul Jaminet. He actually wrote that book with, I believe, his wife. Perfect Health Diet. Number 7, Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh. Very deep soul, very in tune. Now, I can name some other authors, but I like Neil Donald Walsh's style, his way with words, and how simple and very understandable, the ease of which you can understand. It's almost like parables, like poetry, but it sinks down in and it will water your soul in so many ways. Number 8, The Motivation Manifesto, Brendan Burchard. This guy is phenomenal. He seems to have just come from out of nowhere, but he's been around on the scene for a while. He's huge on YouTube. He has a huge presence on Facebook for those who are on Facebook. But any of his videos you listen to on YouTube are awesome. But this book is really an interesting read, and I think that it will motivate you in ways that you haven't quite been motivated before. And he comes at it from, different perspectives as the same, or from the same old tired rehashed quotes. And we're gonna start stepping up the fundamentals a little bit. 9, Money Master the Game, 7 Simple Steps to Financial Freedom by Tony Robbins. I love Tony Robbins. I love that Piscean spirit and energy. Always speaks to you where you need to hear it most. Even though it's written by someone who's a multi-millionaire many times over, he still can relate to wherever you are. So Money Master the Game. And this is crucial. This is crucial because this is what we're going to be talking about. This is the crux of it. And then last, number 10, Big Magic by Liz Gilbert, the same author who brought us Eat, Pray, Love. She's phenomenal. Her words dance off the pages, and she talks about creativity and the importance of creativity and what to do with it, and how so many of you artists, producers, songwriters, sculptors, painters, writers, poets, any creative souls, any creative types, you must read this book, Big Magic by Liz Gilbert, because she talks about how some of us have so many great, wonderful ideas ready to be birthed out of us, and we spend so much time bogged down by society that we don't even realize that something that's meant to shape the world is within you, and you don't even realize it. Or what do you do with it? How do you break out of procrastination, and how do you take your artistry to the next level? How do you take your craft to the next level? So again, those top 10 self-improvement books, check them out. And I just have to plug real quick, if you have not already done so, pick up Moonshine for the Soul. It's going to talk about how to get back to happy, healthy, wealthy, and how to have wisdom and true knowledge of self, even in this matrix system, to move past what they throw at you. I promise you, you will be enriched by this book, Moonshine for the Soul. That's my book. And also, if you have not already done so, you have to pick up The Hustle Guide, The Art of Grind, Straight to the Hustle Manual by Imani Allen and myself. Again, both of those books are available on Amazon through ebook and paperback. And please, if you've already done so, leave a review. Let me know something, because this is how we have to feed each other. And let me just say this: when you invest in someone like me, in my artistry, in my writing, you're not just investing in someone who is gonna go, spend that money on a third or fourth house, or a boat, or a Rolex. You're investing in a family. You're investing in something that is going to impact community and grassroots to the little guy. So just keep that in mind. So again, more commas in 2016. It's time to say fuck the dumb shit. Okay, we're at a point where we know what to do, but we don't know what to do. We know what we want, but we don't really know how to get there. We've went through the vision boards, which I say, again, in the whole spirit of going back to the basics, do a new vision board. Whatever is in your heart, in your spirit, in your mind, in your soul, that you want to do and you want to see, places you want to go, what type of relationships you want to have, put them on your vision board. Keep that vision board in front of you. I promise you that this is work. I mean, it works. It works. It works. I repeat, it works. I don't care what anyone says. I am a living, walking testimony to the power of visualization, positive affirmations. People can say what they want to say. I promise you, whatever you speak about and think about and believe and walk in and day out is what will come to pass in your life. And it goes back to what I was talking about, having something in your consciousness. You will never rise above the level of your consciousness. So if when you look in the mirror and who you truly believe about yourself and what you believe about yourself, in your heart of hearts, that is the level you are going to reside on. It can change. You can change it, but you have to change what's in your consciousness. You have to change how you view yourself, how you speak, and you have to change your influences. You have to, when I say you have to change your influences, it's not just the people who you surround yourself with. That's huge too. But for so many of us, like myself, who, I actually don't surround myself with a lot of people at all. But for people like that, it's not the people who you're surrounded by that are holding you back. It's the input that you're putting in your mind and in your consciousness that is birthing something and birthing relationships and circumstances and situations that you can't get jiggy with. And that can change, and you're the one to change it. So how does that happen? Junk in, junk out. Whatever you feed yourself, whatever you're listening to, watching, reading, consuming, is the input. Think of your mind as a master computer. The greatest computer ever invented is your brain. Your brain is better than any computer on earth, ever built, ever will be built. What you put in that computer determines what shows up on the CPU or the screen or the projector of your life. I'm going to say that again. Your brain is the computer. Your life, what you see on a day-to-day basis, is the CPU. It's the screen. So let's take a look at consumer culture. That's social media. That's mainstream media, the news, television, programming, whatever comes on at prime time in the evening, as well as the music you're listening to and the sights and sounds that you are constantly bombarded with. Okay? Take a monk in the Himalayas or a monk in Indonesia who spends most of his days meditating peacefully in a quiet forest or in an ashram, okay, with peace and the sound of a bubbling brook or the sound of the ocean or the sound of the wind in a beautiful forest with butterflies and tall green trees and birds and a few animals, and that's pretty much his input. And so his output, his reality, is a peaceful, tranquil, serene, harmonious world. And then juxtapose that with someone who spends most of his or her days, okay, bombarded with violence, murder, police brutality, rape, pedophilia, abuse of all types, financial ups and downs and downturns and economic depressions and recessions that are driving them crazy, bumper to bumper traffic, road rage, all of these things. Then you compare them and you wonder why that second person that I mentioned, their life, what they're seeing on their screen is anger, violence, stress, pain in the form of a feeling of failure, a feeling of needing escape, needing to be liberated, a feeling of being trapped, a feeling of brokenness in so many aspects of their life, or just feeling like they're not whole, like there's holes, like someone's poked holes in their life. And that starts with consumer culture. And for most of us, if we're living in modern 21st century society, we're exposed left and right to consumer culture. And what consumer culture tends to do is tell you that you aren't adequate. You aren't good enough. You're not pretty enough. You're not swole enough or buff enough. Your car is whack. Your clothes are whack. Your hairstyle is whack. You're fat. And you're not shit. That's what consumer culture tends to typically tell us. It disempowers you. It's designed to disempower you. So for most of us, when you go pick up that magazine, and this is not just for women, it's men too. When you pick up that magazine on the rack when you're at the grocery store waiting to pay for your groceries, and you see all these beautiful faces, and you look at yourself and the comparison is like, wow, but they're not showing you that this person is a flawed, fallible being just like you, but they've been photoshopped and spray painted and airbrushed and colored in and tucked and nipped and had all this work done. So yeah, you just you may be in the same boat or cut from the same cloth, but consumer culture has told you you're not shit because you don't look like this person and you don't have the products in this magazine. Buy these products, buy this car, do these things, and you will be empowered. And yet, even if you buy all those things and do all those things that consumer culture is telling you, you still will feel like shit. It will still ultimately leave you empty, and it will still leave you disempowered. More commas in 2016. Stay with me. I'm getting to my point. So stop buying into mainstream propaganda in the form of mainstream consumer culture. Kill the TV, cut off the news, cut off the radio, which is bullshit too, because it's just streams for 24/7, nothing of value. And mainstream media and consumer culture is never going to give you anything that matters, because if it gives you things that matter, you will start to be empowered. And if you're empowered, people who are empowered don't spend money on frivolous shit, because they know that, guess what, I'm good enough where I am. Sure, I may need to lose some weight. I definitely would like to earn more money. I definitely would like to have a better impact on the world and in my community and my family or whatnot, and have, more commas. But I'm empowered. So anything you can do to feel empowered is what you need to start doing. And that's different on an individual basis. But as long as it's healthy and as long as it uplifts you and it empowers you, that's where you need to get to. And that starts by building your self-worth, your self-esteem. Because guess what? A lot of us are just coping. And I know that because I can tell by what we put on our social media, what we're tweeting, what we're posting. A lot of people just don't have shit to talk about because they don't have anything going for themselves. And that's because they're not working towards anything. When you're working towards something and you're passionate about something, you talk about it. That's all you can. When you're hype about something, that's all you can think about. You eat, sleep, and breathe it because it means so much to you. And that's where we have to get back to. Thriving versus coping. Coping is putting the band-aid over situations because it's so broken. Let me put this bandage over this so that I can fix it. Thriving is, I'm doing good. I'm operating from a state of abundance. I have more than enough. I'm fed, I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm happy, I'm living the good life. My relationships are healthy relationships, not toxic relationships. I'm paying my bills. I have money in the bank. I'm tapping my goals. I'm hitting my goals. That's thriving. Thriving is a state of harmony. And we want to get to thriving. And you can't get to thriving if you're broke or broken. Okay? You can be broken and have all the money in the world, but that broken state is going to prevent you from enjoying the things that your money can buy. And you can be happy as a lark, but broke. Although I can't seem to reconcile that. But some people, it's real. But you can be happy as a lark and still be broke. There's plenty of people like this. Souls walking the earth, because that's not important to them. Commas are not important to them. And that's fine too. No judgment. This is a no judgment zone. But for me, I feel like you can't do as much for the world. You can't help other people with just a hug. I mean, sure, a hug helps sometimes, a pat on the back, but nothing helps like money helps. The Bible says money answereth all problems, all things. Money answers all things. And the problems that money can't help, it can definitely alleviate the discomfort and the pain. Get out of your petty problems. Petty problems. And what I mean by petty problems is things that won't matter 5 years from now. Whatever it is you're going through, anytime you're faced with anything, I don't care what it is, a breakup, a fender bender, being laid off from your job, a death in the family, a loss, whatever it is, being sick, ask yourself the first question, will this matter 5 years from now? Will this matter 5 years from now? And I would say 9 times out of 10, it won't. So if it won't matter 5 years from now, it damn sure shouldn't matter now. You choose to make it matter by giving it energy to keep talking about it and harping on it and complaining and moaning and groaning and trying to get sympathy and trying to get people to feel your pain and understand your plight. No. Go through it, deal with it, sit down with a piece of paper and have some me time, some namaste time, and list out all the things that are bothering you. Just get it all out on paper, spill it out, and start to figure out ways to solve your problem. But if it won't matter 5 years from now, do not let it cause you to lose sleep. More commas in 2016. Get out of your petty problems by thinking about bigger shit. Dream big, huge, humongous dreams, like gargantuan gangster dreams. Like, case in point, you know, there's a saying, you could tell the size of a man by the size of his problems. Because people with petty problems, that I would never say that to someone if they told me what their problems were and I thought it was petty. In my opinion, I would never say, oh, you have petty problems. But in my mind, I'm thinking, these are some petty bullshit problems. Like, there are real problems in the world. People are really struggling and you're worried about this. But I say that to say, when I say dream big dreams, I'm saying think bigger. Think on a global scale. Think larger. Eclipse whatever it is you're going through or experiencing by thinking, I could have bigger problems, and this is a little problem that's going to grow me, and soon one day you are going to have bigger problems. But don't take that as a bad thing. It's a good thing. It means you're growing, evolving, and getting closer to the person that you would like to become and should become, getting closer to your core essence of who you should be. But case in point, instead of thinking, you know, how do I get a better job? Think, how can I create a business or service that brings in better checks, bigger checks, more commas in 2016? I can't stress this. If you're thinking, oh my God, I'm out of a job, or I'm at a job I hate, I need to get a new job, my boss is an asshole, or this bitch is crazy, these people are crazy, I feel a lump in my stomach every time I pull up to the building. How can you create a service or business that is not only going to annihilate that experience for you, or you never have to experience that ever again, but you will be bringing in more commas. More commas means you can spend more money doing the things you want to do, going places, traveling the world, seeing the world, putting in better input, eating better food, wearing nicer garments and clothing, driving a nicer vehicle, being able to give back to your community in a larger way. Think big, big, big. Dream big dreams, because your dream comes to pass. It always does. It always does. Don't let anyone tell you different. Your dreams come to pass, but sometimes they look different than we expected them to. Nothing is as we expect it to be. It will either be bigger or smaller, or it'll be worse or not as good as we thought, but it comes to pass. If it's in your consciousness, it comes to pass. More commas in 2016. Thriving, not coping. We're slashing our relationship with consumer culture and the need to be plugged into what this system is telling you is important. Instead of thinking, I want to join the team, think, how can I coach the team or own the team? Think like an owner. Think bigger. Dream bigger dreams. Think like a founder, a CEO, an owner. Whatever it is that you do, make damn sure that you are the owner of it. Always. no matter what it is. Even if you start at the bottom with an aim and an idea that you are going to one day sit at the very pinnacle and control operations from your mind. This is key. It's important. I think it's important to have a diversified identity. Spend time doing other things. So even though you may be really big into your university or your career, your job, your relationship, your children, you love them, your family, your parents, your grandparents, whatever it is that you're predominantly into, you love to work out, you're getting shredded, you live in the gym, wonderful. But you want to have an identity that's diverse. You want to, whatever it is that you've been curious about, involve yourself in it. It could be rock climbing, it could be the chess club, it could be volunteering at a soup kitchen, whatever. Just diversify your life. Sometimes we get so caught up and we take life so serious. Like, we're too serious. And there's a time to be serious, but I think that sometimes we're too serious. So I say that to say, have a diversified identity. It's okay to do other things, to laugh. There's a time to laugh. There's a time to play. There's a time to go to the comedy show. There's a time to do innocent, childlike things that you used to do when you were a kid, such as catching fireflies in a mason jar in the summertime, or playing in the sprinklers, or riding your bike, whatever. Just sometimes it's good to get out of your head and you do that through other outlets, riding a bike or whatever it is that you're into. I can't speak to whatever everybody else is into, but if you're a writer and all you do is read and write and work and eat and read and write and work and read, that's fine, but eventually you're going to start to lose some of your steam. You're going to lose some of your edge because you're not feeding yourself with new ideas and insights and mindsets and things that can actually help your creativity. So even if you're a stockbroker, you can gain insights and ideas from learning to play a musical instrument, believe it or not. So don't take me at my word, try it for yourself. In a tie, you always want to put family first. You're only going to have one mother. You get one mom. You get one dad. You get one grandma. You get one grandfather. When they're gone, they're gone. For many of us, you only get one child. Or even if you have 2 or 3 children, you're only going to experience them losing their first tooth once. Learning to ride a bike once. The ballet recital, the karate, the tournaments, it's only going to happen one time. When they grow up, that's it. That's it. You have one shot to do this the right way. And one thing I can assure you is when you are old and gray and you're 80 years old and you're on your cane, you're not going to give a shit about the time you spent in the office or building the team, or you're going to think about the time you lost that you could have been spending with your loved ones. So always family must come first. Even if you don't get along with your family that well, if you have close friends that are like family, people who love you like family, and you basically have embraced them as family, never put them second to anything that can compromise that relationship, unless they're toxic. And in that case, if they're toxic and they drain you of your energy, and when you're around them and when you're speaking to them, you feel negativity spilling over on you, then just don't spend as much time with them. but family always comes first. Scratch your own itch. Focus on solving your problems, but think about solving those problems in a large way. So for instance, whatever you find that you're having problems with, I can assure you, hundreds, perhaps thousands, perhaps millions of other people are having the same problem. And if you learn how to solve that problem for yourself, and you can verbalize that to other people, they will love you for it. They will pay you for it. More commas in 2016. Scratch your own itch. Take your own advice, because 99.9% of the time, you know what to do. We know right from wrong. Our intuition and our gut is on point at all times. It's always on point. Always take your own advice. Isn't it funny how you can be talking to somebody and listening to them, and you hear their problems and you're like, see, that would never happen to me because I would do this, this, and this. I would do A, B, and C. I would do 1, 2, 3. Well, the same thing with you is. It's so funny because when you're going through things, it's almost like that clarity and that light at the end of the tunnel is non-existent. But that's just an illusion. You always know what to do. It's always within you. It's within you. It's within you. But you have to silence yourself. You have to get really still and quiet and sit down somewhere and meditate about it and think about it and delve within for the answers and the advice that you need in any given situation. Design for yourself. This is for you creative souls, for the artists, the culinary artists, the writers, the poets, the producers, the songwriters, the dancers, the photographers, the people who like to design clothes and, stylists, as they say in Italy. Design for yourself. Dress for yourself. Create the music that you love. Don't create music you think everybody else is gonna like, because that's what's hot and popping right now. No, create music for yourself that you love. Write books and poetry and fiction and great words and bodies of work that you love, that speaks to you. 9 times out of 10, when I get on social media, if I'm on Twitter or Tumblr or Pinterest or whatever it is, I post for myself. If it tends to step on your toes or scratch your itch or speak to you, wonderful. But I do things for me first and foremost. I'm speaking to myself. I'm reminding myself, or I'm getting something out there to jog something within me first. I'm telling you to do the same thing. Design for yourself. Create for yourself. Whether it's art, jewelry, painting, photography, whatever it is, do it for the love of what it does for you, how it makes you feel. Not for the money, not because this is what's popular, or this is what I think someone else is gonna love, or critics have told me I should do things like this. They said this is kind of too edgy. Fuck them. Do your thing. Design for you first. More commas in 2016. This is how it happens. Decide to be world class. Whatever you do, be world class at it. I don't care if you have a lemonade stand, and by the way, a lemonade stand is still a source of income, so don't trip. Don't trip. I know some of you who could get out there and create a lemonade stand and add some juice to it, some juice, some carrots and smoothies. You have a nice little business. But even if you have a lemonade stand is a source of income. And you can be world class at it. Whatever you are, if you are a stockbroker, if you are a banker, if you are a real estate agent, if you are a tour guide, if you are a school teacher, be a world-class teacher. Be a world-class whatever you are. I'm not advocating it, but if you are a drug dealer, be a world-class drug dealer. If you are a plumber, be a world-class plumber. Be the best who has ever done it on the face of this planet. Be the Muhammad Ali of it, whatever it is. And you do that by understanding your craft and understanding your industry in ways that no one else knows. That means reading all the books you can possibly consume about your industry or whatever your craft is or whatever you're passionate about. It means attending seminars and retreats and networking events. It means getting in the zone, in the flux of it. It means even going back to the beginnings of it and seeing how whatever your craft or your industry is, seeing how it has evolved. So, as an example, I would say if you're a writer like myself, then that means going way, way back and reading stuff from like the 1700s and 1800s and seeing how it's come to where it is now, and reading everything, not just whatever your genre is, but fiction, autobios, sci-fi, non-fiction, YA, mystery, suspense, fantasy, how-tos, everything. Read the garbage, the bullshit, the tabloids, and read the great works, the canon, the stuff that they have you read in college. Find the syllabus of great universities and the books that are on those syllabuses, or syllabi, I should say. Read those books. And then get in the zone. Get a mentor, get a coach, get someone who can give you positive feedback and critique you in a positive way, not haters. I'm not saying put your stuff on a forum or a blog and allow somebody to come and dismantle you in your work and clown you and hate on you because they're a troll. No, I'm talking about serious, for real deal mentors, coaches, positive critics who can help you hone in on what it is that you're trying to do so you can be world class. More commas in 2016. Keep a list of your guiding principles. Keep a list of your guiding principles. What are your guiding principles? Why do you get up every day besides the sun, besides you gotta eat and you gotta feed your children, or you gotta, you have to pay your car note or pay your student loans, or why do you do what you do? And that's a serious personal question that you have to ask yourself. Why do you do what you do? Timing is everything. You can have a great idea, but strike at the wrong time and it'll fall flat. Timing is everything. Be into the details. Watch the little things. Don't promote crap. Don't promote bullshit. Don't even associate yourself with low quality anything. A lot of times I've had people say, will you buy this? Will you share it, put it out there, tell people about it, promote it, post it. Well, but the problem is, if it doesn't resonate within me and I feel like it's crap, or I just feel like it's low quality, it could be better, I'm not gonna knock anybody's hustle. I don't knock the hustle, but I just won't associate myself with it. And definitely don't associate yourself or sell things that you wouldn't buy yourself. You have to really believe in your products and your services and who you are. You have to, as they say, drink the Kool-Aid. You have to be your biggest fan and cheerleader and largest supporter before anybody in the world can be. Never compromise yourself for anything. It goes back to those guiding principles, your values, your morals. I always like to say, think about the future. Remember? Is this going to matter 5 years from now? Making a sex tape might matter 5 years from now. So you may want to second guess something like that. Sleeping with somebody to get something you want, that may come back to infect you and affect you negatively. Don't ever compromise yourself or your values. Your self-worth is more. Focus on your strengths. Don't focus on shit that you're weak at, because that's not your battle to deal with. Focus on what you're strong at, what you're good at, what you're curious about. The things that you're curious about are giving you a hint as to the direction and the trajectory your life should be going in. It's like your higher self telling you, hey, lower self, or yourself in the future saying, hey, you, pay attention to this, because this is where your commas are going to be. This is where your income is going to be. This is where your increase is going to be. This is where your future wife or your future husband or your future empire is going to be tied to this. Hey, find out about it. Come get this work. That's what it's saying. Focus on your strengths and believe your own hype. Believe your own hype. You have to know within your heart of hearts that you're the shit. And I don't care what anyone says. I don't care. Muffin top, big forehead and all, big feet and all, pimples and all, blotchy skin and all. You have to be able to look yourself in the mirror and believe, you know what? I'm the shit. You have to believe that, because the world is not going to give you that. It's not going to tell you that about yourself, even though you may be. We all have flaws, but you have to just work on your flaws and move past them, but you cannot fixate on them. And you can't allow the world to tell you who you are. That could come in the form of haters, trolls, critics, whatever you want to call it. But with whatever it is that you're doing, your passion, your craft, your industry, you have to believe you're world class, you're the best at it. You have to start telling yourself that before you become world class. In the same way that Muhammad Ali told the world, I'm gonna show you. He said, I'm the greatest. Even before he was the greatest. But he lived into that consciousness and he walked into that reality, and he made the world see what he saw on the inside. Still to this day, we're talking about it. So you have to believe and buy into all your own hype. Believe it. Even if it's a lie. Fake it till you feel it. And what's the one area of your life where you're not afraid to fail? That's where you should be. That's where your increase is. That's where your blessings are. That's where your future and your destiny is. Where you don't give a damn what happens. This is what you stand for. That's where you should be. More commas in 2016. That's where your commas are. Where you're not afraid to fail. Disassociate yourself with people you can't learn from. In so many ways, we have these relationships and people that we're drawn to, but we outgrow them sometimes. And some of us are really good at cutting people off. This is a skill that I had to learn over the years, but it's a healthy thing to do. In the same way, the shoes that you wore in the 6th grade, you probably aren't going to be able to wear those shoes when you're 26 or 36 or 46. You wouldn't keep them, right? Right. So why would you hold on to old, tattered, too small relationships and situations? It could be a job. You know when you've outgrown a job. No one has to tell you. You know how you know? You're no longer learning anything. It's like you're on autopilot. You're getting nothing new out of it. There's zero growth. You've outgrown it. It's time to move on. It's time to dissociate yourself from it. You have to do it. More commas in 2016. We're leaving it in the past. It's back in 2013 or 2012, 2011. We're in 2016. So if you've outgrown it, dissociate yourself, cut it off, kill it, unplug it. Unplug the life support today. More commas in 2016. Now you can still love them from a distance. You can still like their posts on Facebook every now and again, but you love them from a distance and you move on to create a vacuum and a void for new, healthier relationships. Learn to communicate effectively. Become an excellent master communicator. I don't care what it is that you do, whatever your line of work is. Read Bird on Bird by Annie Lamott. 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 Bird on Bird. She's an excellent writer. I say, no matter what your industry is, learn to write well. It will take you further than so many other things you could ever possibly know how to do. Knowing how to write and communicate effectively. If you know how to communicate what it is that you want effectively, nothing can stop you from getting it. Most people, their issue is they don't know how to communicate how they feel or what they want, or they communicate it, but they communicate it with a whole lot of attitude attached to it and emotion, and you have to learn how to read people. One thing you'll learn is that once you can read people and communicate to them at their level, you will always win with those people. And that means sometimes stooping down a little bit or rising. But you have to know how to communicate effectively. Effectively. And always know who you're dealing with. Know who you're speaking to. And I'm going to wrap this up a little bit. Ideas are nothing without execution. If you don't know how to execute, I don't care if you have the most grandiose ideas. They're not going to bring you more commas unless you know how to execute. That means you know how to organize, get the right people to help you do the things you don't know how to do. Ideas are a dime a dozen. Execution is everything. Baby steps count. Baby steps count as long as you're moving forward. So guess what? Somebody at the gym, they may only be doing slow laps on the treadmill, but they're doing a whole lot better than couch potatoes because they are moving. They are burning some calories. They are burning some fat. So think about that. As long as you're moving, you're going to get there. Now, you may not get there as fast as somebody else, but as long as you keep moving and you don't stop, you may have to slow up a little bit. You may have to, take a break from, every now and then. But as long as you keep moving forward, you'll get there. Hope for the best. But understand that sometimes things are going to happen, especially this year. There are things that we're going to see and experience that will cause us to lose hope some days. It's it's inevitable. We don't want to hear it, but it's the truth. But you have to hold your head up and have a strategy for what will happen if my money is affected. What will happen if my relationship or my well-being or my housing situation or my family situation or my child or my parents, or if this happens, I'll do this. Insurance. We get health insurance. We get home insurance. We get car insurance. We get renter's insurance. None of us sits down and thinks about ways to create insurance for hard times. Hope for the best, but have strategies set up and in place just in case the worst should come our way. Treat everyone, and I'm going to leave you with this. Treat everyone like royalty this year, folks. I don't care if it's a homeless man on the bus stop begging for coins, or if it is the most popular person on campus. Treat everyone like royalty, because number one, you don't know who they know. They may know people who can open doors for you and get you farther in life than you've ever gotten before. Word of mouth is the most powerful form of marketing right now, and it's only going to continue to grow. And you want the hype about you and your industry and your craft and whatever it is you're associated with to be seen in a positive light. Not saying you have to be a people pleaser, but just treat people like royalty. Because you know what? If you do this, this is a very rare trait, and you will be behaving in a way that less than 3% of the population behaves, because most people treat other people like they ain't shit. And that's just the way it is. If they, you know, if you can't do anything to help them, or they don't know you, or they think you're nobody, they really won't, you know, have too much to say or do for you or with you. But if you were royalty, if you were the queen, or that's why I say to so many people, peace queen, peace king, because in my eyes, you're royalty. So you have to treat people like royalty, because this will open so many doors for you. And it creates excellent, beautiful, beautiful karma and beautiful energy. Also, last but not least, bring excellence to everything you do. Wherever you go, excellence. Bring excellence with you in the car when you're driving, on your jobs, in your relationship. What are things you can do that will improve upon the conversations you're having with the people around you? More commas in 2016. With that, folks, it's been real. Happy New Year. More to come. Let's get it. Let's make it happen. Peace.